Good morning. Today is a different day. Today I will share with you from an angle that I didn't think I was going to share today. Today we are finishing the week on the theme of suffering and if we are addicted to suffering and how we can go about that. Now, something just happened in my personal life and it made me reconsider the angle of a discussion for us this morning. As I was in meditation today, I felt very, very sad and I started crying and had deep tears coming out to the surface. And I thought, this is interesting. I'm probably processing something that I was not aware was there as it happens. And during that meditation, my phone starts ringing. It's early, like 7:30 in the morning. It's like, okay, it's my cousin. My cousin lives here in Wellington with me. I love my cousin. She's awesome. And I instantly knew that something was up because, like she would not call at 7:30 in the morning if there wasn't something special to say. And indeed, she was there to announce me the sad death of our uncle. He was the oldest brother of my mom. My mom passed a bit over 2 years ago now, so it came as a shock. And we were having this conversation, and then I called my siblings and I told my children, and I was really sad, and I'm still very sad, obviously. And I was thinking that to start with, I would not be doing this live because I was not feeling like it. But then straight away inside of me came up, well, this is your service. You said you would do it every day. It's happening now. There is a reason for it. So you do not need to think that you must perform in one way or another. You just go there and then you share what's on your heart regarding the theme and regarding the experience that you're having. So this is me coming here from feeling a little bit vulnerable this morning, a little bit sad. And I'm really happy that my cousin is going to come later and we're going to have some beautiful food. I've decided to end my juice fast sooner so I could be with her and we could share a warm meal and a hot chocolate because it is really what is needed for me in this moment of grief. So I wanted to actually talk to you then about this suffering that we experience and that comes out of nowhere and that we can feel that we didn't really possibly call that in. And it can be the loss of a loved one. It can be a parent, grandparent, or a child, or brother, a sister. It can be a close friend. And all of us in the whole of humanity, we share that same thing. All of us, we lose people we love. And all of us are learning in our own ways how to grieve. And it really, after going the horrendous period of, and also beautiful period of my mom getting sick and then passing 9 months later, I just realized how very little equipped we are in this matter and how bizarre that is, knowing that all of us are going to go through that. And at the moment, there is an increase in, for me, it's very obvious that people are dying in very bad condition, sick. They have a lot of problems in the body. And it's like the generation of my parents and possibly my generation, if we don't do something about it, is going to die younger from diseases and lots of problems. And that comes from the food we eat and the toxic environment we live in, and also the fact that we are not in tune with nature and our systems, our physical body, mental body, and emotions. So there is a lot to do around that. But this is not the theme today. The theme today is how can we find within ourselves inner resources that are going to help us tremendously go through periods of grief and when we suffer inside. And it's even not necessarily someone passing, but it could be the end of a relationship. It could be a romantic relationship, but it could also be a friendship, like suddenly this friendship does not exist anymore and we're really, really sad. Could also be, I know, sometimes there's separation between parents or between parents and children as well, parents and children who don't see each other anymore. And I'm talking here about this really deep feeling of having a part of us that's broken, a piece of our heart that is broken. And there is an invitation to really choose carefully the words that we use, because we're not here to fragment ourselves and to increase separation by choosing words that are very dramatic and that are therefore going to create that reality, because remember that everything that we think and that we say literally creates a reality. So this feeling of having a broken heart is very true. Actually, I have been reading some scientific studies of cardiologists that have been studying the link between heart diseases and emotions of having had a broken heart, many times before. And it's very revealing to show that it is true. When we feel that brokenhearted, we create heart problem. So here is an invitation to always remember that it is our human that is experiencing an emotion. So again, the architecture of fractal that I teach, the fractal reflection, which is the circle with the dot in the middle, comes very handy. More than ever, we can really draw awareness back into our center and simply observe our human having a challenging time, having a very hard time. And we talk to our human. And here, it's like we bring separation to avoid separation, which can feel a little bit weird, but it's literally saying, my heart is not broken, definitely not, because I'm the eternal divine light of God consciousness. So there's no way that my heart can be broken. There is no way that I can be fragmented and that it is going to bring me down. No, I am the angel residing between this experience. And as an angel, I see myself suffering. I see myself in pain. What do I need? And literally this morning, this is what I was doing. Okay, so what does my human need now? It's like my human needs warm food. My human can juice until lunchtime, and then it's warm food in the evening with hot chocolate. And my human needs physical connection, needs contact. And it's like, okay, so this is what I'm going to give myself. And therefore, I contacted my cousin, who was also very happy because she also felt that she needed that. And then during the day, I was like, again, what does my human need now? Does my human need to not do the YouTube live? Actually, no, because my human would feel really, sad not to do the live, because it's kind of a commitment. And every time I do a live on YouTube, then I feel really uplifted afterwards. So my human is going to do that, knowing that it's what's going to come out today is going to serve some people that need to hear it, as so many of you listen to the replay on YouTube and also on my podcast. Thank you so much, by the way. And through the day, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do that every single day. And every time I have emotions coming, and every time I'm processing something at time, I don't even know what I'm processing. I ask and I say, okay, so what does my human centering need right now? And I share it like this, because therefore I place myself through my thoughts and my words are the loving, eternal presence behind my challenging experience as a human being in this physicality. So there is no bypassing of emotion here at all. On the opposite, here more than ever, I can be unconditionally present for my emotion. So when we are suffering, it is very important to draw our awareness back within and to talk about ourselves at the third person. It's like, Sandrine is very sad right now. She's very wounded because of this experience. She's processing all of these emotions. What can we do? And I always talk about we. It's like my eternal presence is a we, because I'm multidimensional. It's like, what can we do as the angels there? And literally, it's having this conversation. And I'm having a conversation with myself. And at times, what the humans need, like when I was going through so much intensity with my mother, over this 9-month period of her disease, I had to do that so much. And you know what? A lot of the time, my human just needed to smoke weed, a ton of it. And I did that. And every now and then I would have this glimpse like, I'm going to stop soon because I need to have a break, just to kind of see things differently. And so I would have breaks and I would smoke heavily, and then breaks and smoke heavily. I had stopped smoking heavily for a couple of years already, but I just came back as some kind of medicine that would help me go through that. Because when my mother was really sick, I was here in Belgium, and she was here in New Zealand, and she was in Belgium. So I went back 3 times. And when I went back, it was just unbearable. It was for me unbearable to be in her empty apartment by myself or with my daughters, and trying to, live in her things, live in her place, while having to walk, take a bus and take a train and take a bus and walk to go and see her at the hospital, which basically take the whole afternoon just to see her a couple of hours. And so all that could do was just, smoke with my bro in the evening, just kind of like, I just didn't want to think. There was nothing to think about. It was just like this kind of zombie feeling. And the ability that we have not to judge ourselves, not to feel guilt and shame in those moments is going to change the whole thing. And here I'm not talking about starting addictions, of course. I'm not talking about thinking and starting to become addicted to drugs and alcohol and substances. I am talking about having the presence behind to give a human what it needs consciously. So I was choosing to do that consciously. I was not taken by my addictions because I had already dealt with that, which I'm going to talk after. So here I'm talking about simply the conscious connection that we have with certain things that are available to us outside, and yes, can be weed, yes, can be a glass of wine in the evening so we can fall asleep easily, yes, it can be chocolate, yes, it can be warm food, yes, it can be a massage, it can be a sauna, and also yes, it can be a fun night out with some friends where they come and we ask, please, can we talk about something else, because I just need to change my mind. So it's like a conscious choice of giving a human the warmth and the comfort that it needs. So many of us are very hard on ourselves in those times. It's like, I shouldn't feel this way, or I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that, which creates even more separation. And therefore, it creates even more bypassing of emotions. So here I'm talking about really the pure conscious awareness of the processes that are unfolding for our human self, and the ability to courageously take a stand for that consciously, and to do it and to voice it. The amount of time I had to call friends, I had to call families, and I had just to basically just ask for company. I just needed company. Or on the opposite, I just told them I just don't want to see anyone right now, and I wouldn't see anyone for months. And it's not that I was thinking, I was doing okay. I was focusing everything on my business. I was focusing everything on myself and my kids, on my healing journey. It's just that I knew I needed space. So sometimes when people would come and say, like, you need to see people, you need to do these things, I say, like, no, actually what I need is to be by myself. And if you can respect that, I would be very grateful. And they would, because they could see that I was in myself, I was in soul alignment, I was present. So when suffering comes, it has many different tastes, it has many different angles. There is the suffering of physical body, if we hurt ourselves, if we are sick, if we're in pain. There is the emotional suffering that is lingering constantly, and it's like we're constantly on edge, we're constantly a little bit sad, a little bit angry, a little bit frustrated, never completely in tune with life. And then there is the intense emotional and mental suffering that comes from a sudden news, like someone dying or someone leaving us, or like all of a sudden it's a loss, like we have to move home, or is this like, the threat happening, or like this environmental disaster happening, and that's literally like it's a blow. And then we go into like full on adrenaline mode, into kind of basically managing just, so everything doesn't collapse. So it's like survival mode. We go into survival mode. So here, everyone, we know that this happens, right? We're not here to ignore the fact that unexpected events creating deep suffering and challenges in our lives, they happen. And we have noticed that they're then happening more and more often, because this is actually part of the awakening process. Now it's not just us about our little, problems in our lives that are completely, real and raw and authentic, about losing people we love, and sometimes, losing a job and so on. But here I'm talking about, on top of that, that's already going to keep going, because, so it's life. On top of that, we have also what's happening in the world, suffering in the world, that's coming so much more present on our doorsteps every single day of our lives. It's like, wow, that's so freaking there now. So now more than ever, we are being asked, are we ready to do something about it? And what are we going to do about it? And what we're going to do about it is that we're going to work on ourselves. And working on ourselves is happening every single day. We happen to work on ourselves every single day, that we choose to open up our consciousness into perceiving events and and our reactions from different angle of perspective. That is doing the work. When we are in this dynamic with a certain event that is creating some challenges inside of ourselves, we have a huge opportunity given by the universe to practice detachment, meaning to practice, okay, I'm residing at the center point of my fractal, I'm residing in my heart, now I'm the presence behind my human. This is freaking happening. What the fuck? It's like, okay, so this event is happening right now. Okay, so this is my life right now, and I do not want it, I do not like it, but this is happening right now. So I'm going to detach myself from this. What does my human need in this moment? So what does my nervous system need? What does my physical body need? What does my emotions need? What do my mind need? What do I need as a divine being to go through this? And the answer will be different for each and every single one of us. For some of us, we'll feel like we need to serve and be there for others. For some of us, we need to retrieve in our bubble like a turtle. So when I was going through this with my mom, I had very often profound awareness that I was feeling very lucky that I had done so much work on myself already. Like, honestly, like I've been doing work on myself. I cannot even remember when I started, because it's like being more or less all the case, but actively it's like probably like 15 years, 20 years. And I had so many tools in my toolbox that allowed me to go through this process of seeing my mother, decay and then pass. I was able to really hold so much space for myself that it allowed me to still rise. I grew so much in that. And then the grieving process after her passing was beautiful. Yeah, it was, I didn't think as deeply as so many of my friends did when their parents passed or when they have experienced so many challenges, because I had all of these tools in my toolbox. So it made me realize more than ever, I really need to be there teaching other people how to find greater level of soul alignment. Because we think it's like, oh yeah, like I can do this tomorrow, I can do that tomorrow. But no, we can't, because tomorrow is going to be another day. God knows what's going to happen. And we do not do this because we are scared of what's going to happen in the future, because then we create that reality. But we do that because we have wisdom. Because as we grow older, we become wiser. We become wiser because we go through challenges. And then we decide where I've been observing that actually since I was born, I've been receiving some challenges in my life. Okay, so it looks like it's going to keep going, right? Because it's amazing the amount of people that think that once they do a healing session or like when they do this journey or whatever, it's going to easily go away and they're going to be able to maintain their vibration. Well, welcome to life. Like, have you noticed that all your life you've had oscillations? And now, as we grow more into consciousness 5D frequency, that just keeps coming. It's just our attitude towards it that's going to make the whole difference. Is our ability to stay within unity consciousness, meaning being the presence behind the human experience, that is going to change everything. That is mastery, because therefore we don't create realities from lower frequencies of being stuck within the experience. We can continue creating a high reality within the higher realms while allowing the human to process, which is magical. It's huge. This is how we bridge. So this is literally building the 4D bridge between 3D reality and 5D reality. It is learning to navigate these waters like a freaking master that we are, and we are that already. We're just remembering how to be that. This is what I teach. This is what I share. This is what I share. Hey, this is what I'm going to go through so deeply in this Pathway 1 soul alignment. So when I say, please join, I just say it because I know that it's going to be life-changing for you, on so many multidimensional levels, like when you work on yourself, when you go through these programs, and especially this accelerated pathway of evolution with me, of soul alignment starting end of April, you're gonna know yourself from so many different angles that you will fall in love with yourself like you've never thought it would be possible. But not only that, you will be in admiration, in such huge respect of yourself, that no matter what happens, that will just be there as these endless resources of unconditional love, of strength, of compassion, of peace, of service, it's just going to be there. Like your tank will be full and you will know how to fill up your tank yourself for the rest of your life. So it's like really like this investment is an investment that you're going to receive on multidimensional levels. It's not even able, I'm not even able to explain it completely because it's just phenomenal. And I share so many things, and this is why I would love to encourage you to continue working on yourself, continue working with your inner child, with past life, with ancestors timeline, yes, but also learn alchemy of emotions, which is what I teach all around this fractal reflection system, which is completely part of pathway 1, because you're going to learn that you can handle without bypassing any experience of your human reality that is going to allow you to embody physicality, embody divinity in your physicality, being the divine, basically the divine master that you came here to be, not someone who just wants to float away and go back to where they comes from. Like, who cares about that? Like, everybody wants that. That's like it's too popular. It's not even the thing, like wanting to go back. Wanting to be here is the new thing. Wanting to be here in this physicality, choosing it every single day, even if we suffer, even if it's shitty, even if it's challenging, if we don't know what's going to happen, even if we don't know if we're going to make it. We're going to make it personally. Is humanity going to make it? Is my community, my family, my children, what's going to happen to them? The ability to choose this reality with that awareness is mastery. It is badass spiritual warrior codes really being activated there. Because yes, when we were in the ether, I was like, oh yeah. Of course, I'm going to come. It's going to be awesome. I know it's going to be challenging, but you know what? I know I can do it, and it's going to be amazing. So yes, we came. But then being able to renew this choice that we took now brings life back within each and every one of our systems. Each and every one of our cells can awake again to its full potential. It means that your cells start regenerating, because when you say yes to life again, no matter the amount of suffering you are enduring, no matter the amount of trauma you've had, no matter the amount of wounds that are still bleeding in yourself, and that you don't know how it's going to go, how you're going to ever be able to heal from that, it's going to be okay. Choose life again, consciously. Choose to really like find pleasures every single day. Renew this choice point that you took as a soul to experience this magnificent life of yours. And that will be the shift that is going to allow you to so much more easily and effortlessly leave the suffering behind, heal from that, alchemize that. When we remember that we chose to come here because we knew that we were going to be able to rise up to the occasion, to be more courageous, more strong, more compassionate, more loving, at greater level of service for ourselves, but for others, then it's like all of this would allow ourselves to rise up to a level of becoming more of a master, and therefore we can create our reality very clearly from this joint point, because we don't wait for contrast to operate continuously so we can experience good things, so we can change and evolve. We literally continue using the seeds that are planted in our heart, our heart's desire, as vector of creation and vector of joy and excitement, creating our highest reality from all the desires that blossom in our heart, all of them unapologetically. When we are fully present within our soul and our sovereignty, we are invincible. We are completely invincible. We place protections around, which is things that I have talked about before, so I'm not going to talk about it now. But we are so much in our physical body that there is no room for anything else. Like literally, it's a lot harder to receive any kind of attack from anything out there when you choose life unapologetically, because it's like, it's my freaking body. You back off. You back off, you back off. I chose this. There is not one single one of these cells that I don't want to inhabit with the power of my love, with the power of my strength, with my own soul frequency. This is the body that I'm co-created with. This body is spiritual. My atoms, contain all the essence of my soul. And I'm just remembering through opening up all of these divine vessels that I am an invincible, immortal soul. Because immortality is just there. Immortality is already there. It's just physical bodies that shift, We just shift in our physical bodies. So I'm sharing this with you because I really want you to realize that you already have many tools now present in your life that you can use to change your perspective about certain challenges that arise and sufferings that you are feeling. Always remember that you create your reality, you create your thoughts. So if you think that you can become a victim of something, then it's going to happen. You're going to become the victim of that. And that is where you have to do the work on why you're feeling like this and changing your thoughts and emotions around that. I would never place myself as a victim. So I would not allow people to cause me harm. Like in vast majority of ways. It has happened in some other ways, but like mostly this is why I've been able to navigate the quantum so much, so precisely. It's because entities, demons, reptilians, there's nothing they can ever do to me. Like, why? Because it's like I know how to connect with them if they come in my field, but they're just breaking back off because I'm not even there's nothing they can do to me. I'm invincible. I've learned how to handle them since I was born on this planet and for eons, and so have you. And so thinking that they can do things to us actually opens it. Oh, like, yes, you can do something to me. So there is this hook that is there. So it's always important, yes, to place protection, 8-layer of Andromedan shield. That is there on my YouTube channel somewhere, further, because I channeled that about a year ago. But also to inhabit your body with your soul essence more than ever. If we think that the matrix system, that societies, that a war, that a disease can make us deeply suffer, that can create separation, that it's gonna, be the end of this, the end of that, then of course it's gonna happen. If we keep on repeating these thoughts over and over and over, we're just gonna witness it. But if we think, oh, it's just another dynamic happening in the matrix that some people are calling in. Some people are calling in, and because many people are calling in, it actually creates the web that allows this experience to drop in the matrix. That's what happened. Thought forms are like waves, and so these waves, like little bubbles, I would say, like they come up into the ether, and they meet matching frequencies, thought wave, and therefore it's like little dots all together that start creating a line, right? All of these little bubbles, they start coming together. It's like, oh, all of these thoughts are like each other, and so they start connecting like this. And when they start connecting like this, they end up creating a web, a huge web, and eventually this huge web is a living frequency. So it's given life through thoughts, because we are powerful creators. That's how everything is created. This is how we are created. Everything, this holographic representation is created, is because we think together that it exists. It's just through thoughts. So that's part of advanced architecture of life that I also teach. But I'm just sharing this with you because I want you to remember that if you think that's going to happen, you're feeding that and you're allowing it to happen more. So for me, when I observe all of this shit show, this drama happening, I was like, another dynamic created there. How do I relate with that? How does that affect me? What are the thoughts that I'm feeding that? And how can I call back my energy? And this process happens all the time. And then it comes from different angles and different angles. So for us, it's going to be disease. Others, it's going to be warmth. Others, it's going to be financial pressure, inflation, like disease, whatever, All of us, we have some kind of, we're going to receive all of these gifts from life created by the matrix system. It's like, oh, how are you placing yourself regarding this dynamic? I'm placing myself as the observer, realizing that I've got literally nothing to do with it. Like, that is not my freaking reality. I don't want that. I choose not that. Therefore, I'm not going to feed it my thoughts. And I don't feed it my thoughts by thinking about it. I don't feed it my thoughts by talking about it with anyone. If anyone wants to talk about it with me, I'd say, no, thank you. And I literally say, no, thank you. The amount of emails and things I receive from people asking me to chat about this, and that. And I say, no, this is not what I'm here to be talking about. I'm here to be talking about all of this that I'm talking about to you. So reclaim your power. Every time you choose not to think about something, not to talk about something, you're calling back your energy, because that you realize that is an energetic click there that is not you. So when it comes to suffering, and when we are experiencing this, like it's like the when we're experiencing suffering, the quantum dynamic that happens in terms of architecture of life is that basically the sticky frequency that is present, like grief, it can be loss, it can be, I'm talking about like real shit here, guys, like we all feel it in our lives, we all experience it in our lives. And so it's like out of nowhere, and it's like, how could I have created that experience? We create that over a long period of time, also through collective thinking, also through, childhood and so on. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but basically this experience is so close to us, it's so sticky, it's like it's coming like poof, it's right there, it's in our field, it's in our lives. How we go about that is we don't try to say, how did I create this, blah, 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 because that's going to make us feel even more horrible. It's like, how can we possibly think that we make these things that are happening so close to our heart and our family members and our loved ones? It's like, no, it's not the time to think about that. No, the time is to be present within the self. It is to hold the self through holding space, by witnessing the experience, by becoming the observer, by detaching from the emotion so we don't bypass them. Again, as I shared before, we are the angel behind. We give our human what it needs, and we allow this emotional process to unfold as it must. And we constantly call in for help. It's for help within the intimacy of our heart. We call for help from our non-physical friends first. We call for help for the divine. We call for help from our soul. It's like, please, I'm going through this. It's very intense right now. I know that you're there for me. I need you right now. I need you more. Please, I need you more. Come, please, come. And yes, we ask like this because we can, and because that's the way we receive. So we can, and we pray, and we pray, and we pray. And then if we need to ask for help, please, let's ask for help from friends. And they are professional, they are therapists, there are like so many qualified people out there that can hold space for us if we need to experience that. Okay? So it is really to show that it's very individual and personal and unique to go through our own lives. And each and every single one of us, we experience suffering. So each and every one of us, we can relate with compassion to the suffering of others. Yet we are not them. We don't have their physical body. We don't have the density they have. We don't have the certain aspect of light that they have. We don't have memories, and we don't have their fears. We don't have the belief system. So we can only place ourselves as a kind-hearted soul offering compassion. We don't drop our frequency into feeling as shitty as them, because therefore we cannot help, because we drop our frequency and we experience the same suffering. When we are there to be there with our loved ones, we are simply there sharing, look, I know what it feels like. If you ever need something, I am there for you. This is what I did to my cousin, my beautiful cousin. She's my oldest cousin who lost her dad this morning. Oh, no, evening in Belgium. That's literally what I send as a message. And I know. And mom is there for her brother, for your father in the ether, and they're all in the light. But that's all that I say, because she doesn't need advice, she doesn't need reassurance, she doesn't need anything. She just needs to be held. So all that I could say is that I'm here for you, and I pray for you, and I keep you in my heart. And when we can be there for ourselves and allow others to also go through their own process, this brings healing. And sometimes we can heal through deep wounds and traumas like that, just by sitting beside someone, placing a blanket around their shoulders if they need one, making them a cup of tea. And that can be energetic. I'm not close to my cousin, so I cannot do that today. But energetically, I see that. I feel myself wrapping herself with a warm, fluffy blanket. And I see myself just, in prayers with her, sending her love and a virtual cup of hot chocolate and things like that. So there is something absolutely beautiful that's about suffering, and I will finish with this today. Suffering allows humans to come together and to open their heart and to rise up to the occasion to become a better person. because we can see that when there are wars, when there are floods, when there are fires, when there are all sorts of horrible things happening in a family as well, like even if the siblings were not talking to each other any longer, now that the parent passed or the parent's dead, and they just all of a sudden they come together, communities come together, people come together. Why? Because they are called together through the frequency of suffering. But if they stay in that, they're going to still experience warmth and connection and love and support, and they have the opportunity to be able to harness that into experiencing deeper level of communication and deeper level of healing, and to use it as a pathway of evolution for self-reflection. So maybe it can heal against certain relationships that were a little bit fragile before, a little bit prickly before. Maybe in a community, when a community goes through intense challenges together, maybe it will allow us to finally understand that we can transcend the like amount of money someone has, skin color, gender, identification, like all sorts of like religion differences. Every time there is suffering, we can see that none of the identification that we have with our ego actually matters any longer. It's like we are just there. We just breathe together, we cry together, we hold space for each other. And if we can harness that into creating a better reality by saying, how can we address this? How can we heal through this together? How can we, instead of putting more fire into this, how can we actually choose to let go past wounds and past traumas and past suffering between each other, so we can transcend that and actually create deeper connections, create deeper love and compassion and a higher reality for ourselves and others. So suffering is a contrast between feeling really good and feeling really shitty. And contrasts are there as evolution. This is why it exists. This is why the 3D matrix system exists. This is to help humans find the light. This is there's no other reason that honestly, like everything else that's a narrative around dark forces is actually distorted narrative, identifying and trying to fight. So therefore dropping frequencies to meet the dark force. I don't meet the dark force. I don't freaking care about it. It's non-existent in my reality. What I see is, and what I know is my higher truth, because that's the teachings I receive, like the teachings I receive from the Advanced Collective and High Council I co-create with, and also my soul, is that these forces are there as a whip. It's like, are you going to wake up? Are you freaking going to wake up into creating your reality based on your dreams? Are you going to wait to become like a freaking half alive robot, miserable all of your life, to have another slap in the face? That's very uncomfortable to say, wait a minute, what is it that I'm doing with my life? We don't need to wait for the whip. We can straight away choose from the starting point. Ooh, I feel really excited today because I would love to manifest a new home. I would love to manifest a new car. I would love to manifest a new haircut. I just want to create this beautiful painting today. Oh, I want to create for my work today. I'm going to do all of these things. And I just want to connect with this person. I just want to connect with that person. And all of that are equal heart desires. They're all equally beautiful and valid. So ultimately, we are going to completely remove suffering from our realities when we become civilization 1.0, residing in fifth dimensional state. So here I'm talking about future timeline. Suffering is non-existent. Okay, this is how our star friends live. They don't evolve through suffering. Contrast does not exist. They evolve through following heart desire, blossoming eternally, and there is always more blossoming. Why? Because we are ever evolving soul. So we will never, ever stop having new desires. So of course, we always want more because we are born to do that. We were born to be multidimensional beings residing in this beautiful physical reality. So of course, there's always more coming. So the more you can allow yourself to see this as actually pathway of evolution that is going to allow you to transcend suffering that happens, so you can start creating a life from manifesting your heart desire, then suffering will become very very, very much easier to handle. Because therefore, as I mentioned, it's what I'm experiencing, because I live like this, I live this life like that. So when suffering comes like that, it's like, it nearly feels like a divine touch of humanity, It feels like, I don't know how to explain. It's like a soft touch of an angel coming, and the pain in the heart and the tears there, and the pain that I share with my family, and the frustration that I have from again being overseas when I would like to be with them and hold, them in my arms. It's like this pain comes as part of the flowing river of my soul. And it's simply something that I touch, and I see it as grace. I see it as grace because I do love it here. I do love humans. I do love all of these humans very much, even if I'm not a lot in touch with them, even if I don't see them much, even if I actually don't really have much in common, and I do love them. And that's something nice. I chose this reality, and it shows me that I still care about this reality. Okay. So I hope that this transmission was good. Thank you all for your comment. Thank you, Romain. Thank you, Marco. I don't have my glasses, it's a bit hard to read. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Lisu. Andrea, also many of you, and Georgia. Thank you. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you're all here. Yes. Oh, and Joy is waking up, so it's a good time to go. Une technique pour se déconditionner profondément. Yes, Lisette. So Lisette is asking in French if I have techniques to completely change our state of beingness. It's like it's constant inner work. It's like constant inner work, and the more we can do inner work from many different angles, the more we develop our own tools in our toolbox. So, for example, we can learn about like Reiki, sometimes like shamanism. We can do some plant medicine. Some people love doing that. Like we can do the trainings that I share, which is like soul alignment pathway 1 and co-creation pathway 2. And the more we do these things, the more we dive deep, the we can reprogram ourselves, like déconditionner, like we are completely reprogram ourselves. So it's a journey of a lifetime. Yeah, and it's exciting. Yes, I should go because Joey thinks there's something happening. I love you all very much. Thank you for being there. Enjoy your weekend. And oh yes, exciting. Next week and following week, we'll be talking about Ascended Masters and Star Races. So join. Every day will be different Ascended Master. Every day will be a different Star Race. So I'm not sure who's going to come first, group of Ascended Masters or group of Star Race. But I will share awesome content about them. And it will be kind of like mini challenging because, of course, when I share like that, they're always with me and with you even more. I love you all, and I will see you in the next time. Bye.